Tonight was the last night that I wore my Season 2 costume for my character, Firaniel, to Fresh in my CosmereRPG actual play campaign. I wanted to take a moment while I'm wearing this for the last time for the show to give you a costume tour. One of my favorite things to do when I'm cosplaying in a long-term campaign or when I'm making an immersive experience where time is passing is to demonstrate the time passing through changes in environment or in the terms of an actual play, something that I can control, which is the costuming of my character. It's something that I started to do with my first long-term campaign that I was in. I was playing a elf druid character called Whisper, and every session she would be wearing a different outfit, but also her costuming and her outfit would change as the story progresses. Like, she got a haircut in the game, so I wore a different wig and demonstrated that haircut. When she got a new cloak in the game, I wore the cloak for the actual play. Editing gem, jumping on to just add one more thing. I think that what I was doing with Whisper is actually how I ended up winning a Crit Award for Best Costume Makeup in an actual play last year in 2025, and for the way that I portrayed her, because I had a different look for every episode and then it evolved to follow her story. And I'm pretty sure that's what got me that award at the end of the day. I love the kind of storytelling you can do through visuals without having to tell anyone about it. And it's always like little hidden things that make me happy because I'm making it for myself. But I want to, for the first time, share some of those little things with you. So I'm going to give you a Season 2 Firaniel costume tour. Firaniel is my CosmereRPG character that I play in a actual play series on Another World tabletop called The Last Ideal. Some backstory about Fira, or Firaniel. She's born in Yakaved. Her mother's Veda, her father is a horn eater. That's where her orange hair comes from. They were a dark-eyed family, fifth non, and so she has actually dark purple eyes, which I'm wearing those contacts here. She grew up trying to meet expectations throughout her life that her mother and her father had for her and she had for herself. She dreamt of a bigger life, and so she devoted herself to her studies. She wanted to rise up the ranks as a military strategist, which was really hard for a dark-eyed fifth non woman. Everything she did was for that goal. She ended up getting into the military, becoming a junior strategist, and then joining forces in the Alethi war machine, moving to Kholinar to work under her previous captain, which plays a huge role in her story, but I'm not going to go too in depth here. I just wanted to give you the backstory to help describe her looks and where she came from and why she looks the way she does. And so when she was younger, she used to get made fun of for her hair and her freckles, but she didn't really care. She didn't really have friends. She was just focused on her devotion, training, and getting smarter and being better. So in Season 1 of The Last Ideal, her look was very severe. She had her curly red hair tied back as tight as it could be, even though it's still pretty unruly, so some strands always escaped no matter how hard she tried. She wore a yellow blouse with a corset, everything tucked in, a long skirt, wore her safe hand glove because she was a good Vorin girl. She was very devoted to the Vorin religion. And she was a by-the-books goody two-shoes. Now we are 2 episodes into Season 3 of our story. And so we've gone through 2 seasons of adventures and craziness, and so many things have happened to my poor little baby girl. And I love showing how those things have changed the character through what she wears and how she looks. And so if you go back and watch our series, you can see that she looks very different in episode 1 than she will next week in episode 3 of Season 3. So I never did a costume tour of what I wore for her for Season 1. That's fine. Just know everything she wore was very pristine. When she did get her military jacket, she wore it buttoned up, nice, pressed, firm, all proper and official. However, certain things happened. Season 1 of the campaign was pretty much Fira's no good, really bad, terrible couple of weeks. She found out God was dead, started questioning everything. No spoilers, but she went through a lot and had a lot of crises of identity and faith. So we're going to just flash forward a bit to what she looked like at the end of Season 2. And that's what I'm wearing right now. she started to allow herself some more elements of personal expression and enjoy experimenting with those sorts of things and trying to look different, trying to look nice. So one of the things that she did, she got tired of trying to control her unruly hair, and so she just wears it now in a half up. She ties half of it up in a ponytail, wears the rest down. It's much less of a fight now. Her makeup, she used to wear very minimal makeup in her favorite color, which was yellow. And her makeup has slowly evolved over the course of the series. Now it incorporates a yellow eyeshadow with some oranges and reds and golds. And it's gotten a little bit more noticeable. She used to just wear clear lip gloss, and now she likes to experiment with some lip color for the first time. Back in season 1, she actually went to her first ball. She was undercover at a ball and was doing a mission with her new friends. She got to wear a fancy gown for the first time. She got done up all pretty for the first time, and that really changed her because she'd never wanted to be pretty before. She never saw the utility in being pretty, and she had a moment there at that ball where she saw herself in the mirror and she felt like she looked beautiful, and that was a first for her. She never had that moment before. She never cared really what she looked like before. She never was trying to impress anyone with her looks. She always wanted to impress people with her usefulness. Since that moment at that ball, when she kind of realized oh, I think I like looking nice. I think I want to be pretty. I want people to think I'm pretty. I want someone very specific to notice me and think I'm pretty. That was definitely an awakening for her. And I show that on her character. So she was wearing some pearls, like a necklace of pearls and some pearl accents and accessories that she was borrowing for the ball for this undercover mission. And when she got back to her room after everything at the ball went to shit, she noticed that some of the pearls had fallen off. And so what she did is she tied one of those pearls to a black cord and made it a necklace. She never wore jewelry before. She never cared. She never saw the purpose. She was a very much, if it doesn't have a purpose, if it's not going to help me succeed, I'm not going to do it kind of person. And she decided something changed in me at that ball. And I'm going to remember that. She's big on mementos by tying this around my neck and wearing this necklace. So now she wears a necklace. Her earrings are still always understated. She doesn't go big with earrings. So I'm always wearing stud earrings when I'm playing this character. Right now they're little pride flags because it's Pride Month. And let's talk about the flowers in her hair. So in season 2, as I said, she was starting to experiment with things she could wear and ways to personalize her look. She wanted to have a little bit of individuality for the first time in how she was presenting herself to everyone. She's from Yakaved, and she has a soft spot for plants and flowers. And so I did some research and found out that there was a yellow flower that's native to Yakaved called the Eye of Ishi flower. I might be saying that wrong. She got an Eye of Ishi plant for her new apartment that she got in season 2 and decided to wear a flower in her hair. Just a little bit of personality to her look that she had never had before. Now, something happened in season 2 where one of her party members, who has the radiant power to grow plants, the surge to grow, had come over to her very sparse apartment and had decided to show off one of his powers to her that she had never seen before, and accidentally went too hard with it. So she was going to gift him a plant that she picked up at the marketplace as a thank you. He was like, hey, you want to see what I can do with this plant? And he made it burst and grow into her apartment. So her apartment was basically covered in flowers and roots and this plant, and it just took over the interior of her place. And it was said that the flowers that bloomed from this plant were red and white flowers. And it really made her once sparse and impersonal apartment feel a bit more like decorated or full or alive, literally, because it was full of a plant. There was no way we were getting that out of the walls. It's a part of that apartment now. It just so happens that she has some complicated feelings for this character, this party member, and that time that he had come over for the first time really meant a lot to her. They had some discussions. He asked for her help in a way that showed he was growing himself and he respected her. She had already had some blossoming, maybe feelings for him, but I think something switched then in that she noticed that she cared for this person a lot. So after he blew up her apartment with flowers, she started wearing, with her yellow Ayavishi flower from Yakaved, the red and white flowers from his overuse of his powers in her place, in her hair as well. Now, let's move on down the line. In season 1, she was wearing a yellow blouse, but it was very much supposed to, I didn't actually own one that came up the side, but it was very, very conservative yellow blouse and a brown leather corset and belts. In season 2, she's not letting herself go a little bit, but letting herself look a little bit more relaxed. She's still wearing her military coat, her Kholinar blues. However, she no longer buttons it up anymore. She wears it loose and open and flowing. Her favorite color is yellow, and so she still has a yellow blouse. It's not the same one. It's just a bit more loose in season 2. Now, this scarf. In season 1, they are sneaking around the city of Kholinar, and she doesn't have anything to sneak. She's literally never done anything wrong before in her life at this point. And so her other party members are like, do you have anything to disguise yourself? And she's like, no. And I'm also very noticeable with my bright orange hair. And so the same party member, before she had any feelings for him whatsoever, back when she actually found him kind of annoying and troublesome, lent her a scarf to use to cover herself up and be mysterious. So Fira, being the good-born girl that she is at the time, she borrowed the scarf, she used it, and then she went home and she washed it and cleaned it, and then the color of the scarf changed because it was that dirty when he lent it to her. And she tried to return it to him. And he's like, no, you keep it. I don't need it. She's like, oh, okay. Pretty much at that moment in the story, she was letting people in for the first time. She's never had friends. She's never been wanted around. People put up with her because she was useful and handy and smart, but nobody actually liked her. And so she was really coming to the terms that I think these people actually like me. They want me around, her other party members. And so she started wearing the scarf. She did not know at the time that she was going to develop feelings for this person. She was just seeing it as, oh, my maybe new friend gave me a gift. And it's the first gift I've ever gotten from a friend. And it's kind of cool. It makes me feel badass. It reminds me, mementos. She loves mementos. It reminds me of the time I got to be super sneaky, and I felt really cool about it, even though I wouldn't admit that to anyone. So now she wears the scarf, and she wears it loose and flowing because, as I said, she's taken things a little bit more relaxed this season. She still wears the corset, belts. She has a side sword. She's still wearing it. I'm not wearing it right now, but she changed her look from wearing a skirt to wearing pants, definitely more casual in season 2. And then it wouldn't be a story of a good Vorin girl without talking about her safe hand. And I think the safe hand is the biggest change in the campaign so far, at least when it comes to her looks. For all of season 1 and for most of season 2, she wore her safe hand glove. So in Stormlight Archive, woman's safe hand is her left hand, and for some reason that's just like she has to have it covered. Well, if she follows the Vorin religion, she has to have it covered. It's indecent to show your safe hand. And so women of status and money, often light eyes or higher status than dark eyes, will wear dresses called havas with these long bell sleeves that cover the safe hand. Dark eyes and lower status individuals often wear gloves to cover their safe hand because havas are very expensive dresses, and Fira did not come from money, and Fira's a dark eyes. So I wore this glove every session until the end of season 2, when Fira went through something where she made a choice. She killed the second person she's ever killed. He was a bad person, but she killed someone for the second time ever, and it was quite brutal the way she killed him. She set him on fire. I, as a player, did not know that this would be an instant kill, so it was a surprise to me, but also it was great for the character and the character development and now where the character is going from here. It has changed her whole direction, her doing this. So she absolutely crossed a line. She went from being insecure and not able to find her strength to going to cruelty. Like, she did not need to destroy this man in that way. And then she lost herself to anger and revenge at the end of season 2 when she did this. She also had a moment where she turned a man's sword into molten liquid that splashed back at her and burnt her whole safe. She uses her safe hand to pretty much cast her powers that she has as an Elf Scholar in comparative terms. She uses her left hand or safe hand to cast her magic, basically. She was holding out her arm. She has the power of transformation, so she changed this attacker's sword into molten metal or molten liquid, and it splashed. She had a complication, so it splashed back on her and burnt her whole safe hand. It burnt her whole arm. In some reflection after that incident, Fira realized that she took it too far. She crossed a line, and she never wants to cross that line again. Now, Radiants in the Stormlight Archive and in the CosmereRPG campaign have the power to heal themselves. And she could have, after this battle, she could have healed the burns on her arm. But with everything she's been going through and her losing her faith, having a crisis of faith in the religion she once devoted herself to and the military that she once devoted herself to, and all of these things that she used to base her identity on, she's no longer finding comfort and stability in them anymore. And so she looks down at her burnt hand and arm, and she decides, I'll never do this again. I am not going to heal this. I don't want to forget what happens when I let anger control me and take over, when I let the desire for revenge decide what I do next. I never want to lose control like that again. So she makes the choice to not heal her hand. And this is a pretty big step for a good Vorin girl. She makes the choice to start not wearing her safe hand glove for the first time in her life, among other things that are story relevant. But for the look of the character, that's what happens. She decides, I'm taking a step away from everything I thought I was. I'm accepting that things are changing me, and I'm going to let them change me as I figure out who I want to be from this point on. And with that, it's the burn that she leaves on her arm and her hand is not a punishment, it's a reminder. And so it's a really powerful moment for her and a powerful reminder for her. And so at the end of season 2, she decides, I'm not wearing this glove anymore. I'm going to embrace my burnt hand and my burnt arm. So I don't know if you can see it here, but I actually got to do some, I played around with some makeup and special effects makeup today to give me fake blisters on the hand. And so she's no longer wearing her safe hand glove. She's got her burnt hand that she's not going to heal on purpose. And she's ready for what season 3 is bringing her already, which is crazy so far. Oh my gosh. We've had 2 episodes and already so much has happened. But I just really wanted to share how much I have so much fun putting all of these things together for my character and figuring out how they would change their look in response to things that are happening to them in the story. And that's so fun for me. No one else is going to notice this. And I know that. I'm not doing it for anyone else but me. But I think it's just fun to have these little Easter eggs, even for myself. It's a character exercise to really make them feel real and make it easier for me to step into them as a character. In these stories that we tell, our characters are probably changing up their looks a bit. And I love being able to tell the story of their character progression and how they're adapting to the world and the things that are happening to them through costuming. It's so fun for me. It's something I'm definitely not going to stop doing in any long-term campaign that I'm in, because I have a blast coming up with these outfits and coming up with these cosplays for my character. Even though when I'm playing in an actual play, you literally only see this much of me and no one's seeing the details. It's all for me, but I love it. and I'm going to keep doing it. And so I encourage you, if that's something that you want to do with your characters, it's really fun. I know I sound kind of crazy saying that, but it's just fun to think of how the game influences how they look and the things they wear. And oh boy, Firaniel is about to change a lot in Season 3 of The Last Ideal, our CosmereRPG campaign on Another World tabletop. So stay tuned. I might do another costume tour of what she's wearing in Season 3 once it all comes in. But thanks for listening to me ramble and yap. If you're interested in seeing how the CosmereRPG system runs, you can always tune in to our campaign. As I said, there's 2 seasons complete already. We're in the middle of our 3rd. We air live every Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time on Another World Tabletop Twitch. But we also have Season 1, at least, of our VODs uploaded to YouTube, and Season 2's coming, I'm sure. If you want to check us out, the story, I can't even begin to tell you how amazing and obsessed I am with the story that we are telling and our characters and the players we have at this table. And of course, Story Dad, our game master and storyteller, who is leading us through this adventure in Roshar and Kholinar. It's been such a wonderful experience to be a part of this tale. If you're interested at all, I hope you join us. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done anything similar with your characters in a long-term campaign, because I want to hear about it. I love people geeking out about their characters and their stories with me, so I strongly encourage you to do that. Tell me how you use costuming to tell a story. I would love to hear it, and I would love to feel inspired by your stories as well.